Hey guys, welcome to Clockwork, down to Noodles for another breakdown of Kaiju No.8 episode number 6. We are at that magical halfway mark, and of course it means the midway review is now out. In that video I have crowned my top 3 OPs, EDs and my current favourite animes in ranking. Go check it out because it's an interesting video, and I do think day by day my top 3 is changing, but that was just a little peek into how I was feeling on that day in particular. Of course we've got the end of season where I generally make my overall choices, so we still got some time, and of course there's a lot of things that can happen in 6 episodes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you're looking after yourselves. I am in a food coma right now because we had way too much food over here. Probably taking a nap after I've done this edit. This is a fantastic episode that I wanted to talk about, and thank you guys for tuning in. There is of course going to be a very big update. It's coming probably the week after next, so I think we're gonna get information next week, but I'm gonna give you guys the big video very shortly, so make sure you are subscribed because a lot of big changes are going to come your way. When it comes to also doing the overview for summer, there's going to be some information given in that video too, so I'm gonna have to make sure I plan things out, but please do get excited as some big things are coming our way. Let's get straight to it because this week's episode has got some bits and pieces that I wanted to talk about, and I do like lore. I like it when an anime will go into world building, and the reason I mention this is because the first bit where we've got the evacuation process actually underway, I found that stuff fascinating. I know it doesn't interest everybody, but I like it when a world tries to actually build out everything else that goes on. So this is how we evacuate people. You can see because it happens so frequently, these people are not screaming, they're not really bothered. There's people just going, oh, I want to go toilet, why is it now here, kind of thing, it's in the way. These people are not really concerned. There's no one screaming and having a meltdown. That I think as well tells you a lot about the world that we're in, that it happens so much that these people just don't really care, or they're that organized where there's nothing to really fear because these guys have done it so many times. So I like that additional little nod. There's also more peek at what tech we're using, and I do like tech in anime and in shows in general. I like the whole overlay type thing. One day we're gonna have little overlay things on our eyes, maybe, if Google Glass comes back and actually improves itself perhaps, but I like looking at tech when it comes to animes like this. Now I do relate heavily to Kafka this week where he froze up on the way over. I can't be a passenger. If anyone asks who's driving, it's me. I'm gonna drive you guys because I don't know why, I just, as soon as I am a passenger, I get the worst motion sickness ever, and as a kid I can just have memories of throwing up a lot in the car next to my sister. I wasn't the popular sibling, definitely not the popular one. I can't, I have to drive, or I guess I just get really, really sick. Now I am probably going to be putting this guy's name on a shortlist for the husbando of the season if things continue. Now Soshiro, I am really starting to take a liking to this guy. I don't know what it is, whether it's because he can get really, really serious and then he's actually quite funny to hang around with, and then he sees the aspects where he can make things more humorous, but I really like the down-to-earth nature of him. The fact that he uses katanas as well is hot. That's really hot. I like it. I really want to see him in action, and yes, sure, we do kinda in inverted quotes see him this week do some kind of action, but it's so fast I don't really see it. I really want to have more with this guy. I would love to see him actually taking something on and having a proper battlefield with him. He looks awesome. I really want to see him in action, but he does take a back seat this week, and he's actually more watching his cadets on the field, not really about him. I do want to see this guy in action this week because I really like it. Now, I do appreciate Kafka's excitement because this is literally his dream job. And for once, you're not waiting for the battle to be finished and then go in and clean. You are the one making the mess that the people are going to be cleaning up after. I do like the fact as well that he's able to use his skills, and this is what a employer means when we talk transferable skills. He's able to transfer the skills of his previous job onto this job to go, actually, you should not be attacking that bit. This is where the weak spot is. Be careful of that bit. And I like it because that's very key and important, but it really does still feel a little bit more like a scientist or a field expert role, not so much a combat role. But maybe they do have these roles in the organization. It's got to be people who do research. So maybe he could go into a different sector. There's nothing wrong with being that kind of character, and he does remind me a bit of Deku, weak Deku before Deku ate hair. I like that because it's really, really useful. It's support information that helps the people who can fight. Very nice, useful bit of information there. I do still think the kaiju this week look a little bit like Tentacruel. the Pokemon with like stumpy legs and teeth, but also quite terrifying if apparently you hit them in the wrong place and they start seeding everywhere. Now, we do get to see Mina in absolute action at 96%. You can see why she's an icon. Lots of these people have joined up because she has become a childhood icon. She's the person they look up to. She is Levi from the Levi Squad. But in this anime, she's that person that literally is a one-man army. And does she really need somebody standing up beside her? Because she doesn't seem to need any help. She literally wipes the floor with that thing. She is that very strong, independent woman who I don't think needs no man, even if it is Soshiro, my boy, at her side. Now, I do share Kafka's disappointment when Soshiro does actually do action, but it's so fast, no one really gets to see it. But I do like the explanation between the weapon thing, that as you go up the levels, they do make a weapon more in line with your fight style. And we do see that too with Ishikawa this week, where he's swapped his bullets out for the freeze ones just to make things a little bit easier for him to handle. And I like that because everybody would fight in their own custom manner. You're not going to have a set fighting memo where this is how you have to do it. I like the fact that they are allowing for people to have individual flares. The fact that he's able to have these katana. It looks like he's got 2 katanas though, so perhaps he does have 2 katanas. I just really want to see him in action so badly. Now, Kaiju making his appearance right at the end is excitement, but it seems that Kafka indirectly may have ruined his plan because he knows about the anatomy of the kaijus. Perhaps they were supposed to attack those things and it would get worse and there'd be more of them. And I don't know, there seem to be a lot of those Yoju things running around, so it does seem like there's a lot, but it looks like something else was supposed to happen, and I don't think that's going to be a fun one because he's got to fight, and he does, when we've seen him in action very briefly, look very powerful. So gonna be interesting to see what happens. But the fact that Ichigawa is the one he's in front of, Ichigawa might have a few moments click in his head where he's like, oh, you're very similar to how Kafka is, so maybe he'll draw a few connections in the battle next week with that. But it's a cool episode. Maybe the shortlist for Husband of the Year is going to be an interesting one because I don't know, I don't think from the top of my head there's been too many candidates on that list so far. Do join me for the end of season. We do have some fun with some awards as well, so it's not just these are my 3 favourite animes, that's it. I do invent some really fun awards to make things fun, and a lot of you guys do appreciate those, so I can't wait to create this season's awards and see if my boy Soshiro can actually get on that list, because I bet that guy's jacked. I got a feeling that he's actually jacked and he's actually really, really good at fighting. And of course, if he is number 2, he's literally Mina's number 2. He's got to be powerful. He's got to be wielding some kind of a power that we haven't seen just yet. Very curious, keeping my eye on him. Thank you guys so much. I hope you're looking after yourselves. Big news coming your way very shortly, I promise. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.